are now listening to Tuff Tiger Talk.
What's going on, Tiger family? What's happening? You're now rocking with Tuff Tiger Talk on the PRO Media Network. Big ups to the Tuff Tiger Nation out there. After LSU, man, a very ugly loss to the Alabama Crimson Tide. LSU rebounds. That's right, rebounds in a very exciting matchup in the Swamp. You know, culminating on the back end of the game with the fog rolling in, you know, creating a real environment of drama as LSU was able to come out with a very awesome win over the Florida Gators, getting revenge in a nip and tuck game going back and forth. It was most certainly one of the more exciting matchups that we can recount that has happened quite recently with LSU, especially going to the Swamp during this season and coming out with a win over the number 6 Florida Gators was a really, really a well-deserved win by a young team. Big ups to Cade York, who came through with 3 field goals that really helped out in the day, including a 57-yarder that ultimately turned into the winning field goal. 13 points from Cade York in this matchup. LSU takes down Florida 37-34 in a very interesting, exciting game. The Tigers improved to 4-5, knocking down the number 6 Florida Gators in the Swamp. We'll get into the team statistics in this, then the individual statistics. We'll hear from Coach O, and we'll keep it moving. All right, in the first down category, 26-24, advantage Florida in this matchup. As the third down efficiencies, the LSU Tigers were 8 of 19. Florida was 5 of 13. Total yards in the matchup, LSU 418, Florida 609. Passing was 239 versus 474. LSU did get the running game on par in this matchup, 179 yards off of 50 carries. So LSU was determined to get that rushing attack going. That's 3.6 yards per carry versus 135 by the Gators. Now, penalties, LSU 6 for 49, 4 for 29 for the Gators in this matchup. The LSU had the ball about 3 minutes longer than Florida with 31-54 versus 28-06 in the matchup. And LSU, like I said, determined to run the football, 50 carries in the matchup, culminating 179 yards in the contest. So LSU did what it had to do in this matchup to make it happen. Let's listen to Coach O's breakdown of the matchup as LSU comes in and knocks off Florida and stuns them in the major capacity as Coach O.
I'm so proud of our football players and our coaching staff. They fought under very adverse conditions. Blocking out the noise was key this week, and we had to believe in ourselves. And our players came here to win the football game. We talked about it last night. We felt that we could win. We had to play very well. And I'm just so proud of the grit and the toughness. A lot of young players, a lot of older players, giving it everything they got for the Tigers. Give credit to Dan Mullen. I think he's an excellent coach, and Florida's an excellent football team. Tonight was our night. 3 turnovers, the winning field goal at the end. I thought the clock management was awesome tonight. A lot of good things happened tonight. Any questions?
Hey, Coach, about to go on set and do this game. How about that? Where did this fight come from? And you talked about it. The guy's not good, but, man, I mean, you guys lose players left and right, and next man up. I mean, nobody blinks.
Yeah,
man, that was impressive.
We saw it all week, and that's what I said. It was a 24-hour rule. We were very disappointed the way we played, but we fought. We stuck together as a team. And, it's the first time for a lot of these young players in the Swamp. They believed in each other. They blocked out the noise and did a tremendous job.
Yeah, and before Kate went out for that kick, did you say anything to him, or did you feel like you didn't need to?
No, I didn't want to mess him up. Just let him go. But, I talked to Mac, and obviously I said, Mac, what do you think? He said, we're going to make it. And we're trying to get to the 33, and that was his range. But, hey, we decided to go ahead and try it. Tremendous job of getting the Mayday out there, and a tremendous job of protection, and tremendous job of Cade.
Coach, everyone, as you said, everyone in the world doubted you, including this person right here who was asking you a question right now.
That's okay. That's okay.
How do you account for this? Is it just people when they get backs to the wall, everything's going wrong, and you have a late scratcher like Stanley and basketball can't play, and they come together. How do you explain something like this?
I just think that you got to give credit to the players, the leadership. I think Jacoby Stevens did a tremendous job of leading the football team. Austin Deckless, Jabril Cox, then the young guys stepped in. There was a 1-2 about winning tonight, and I think coaching staff did a great job. There was a lot of motivational speeches last night, and I told them, this is the same room that we sat in after we lost to Troy, and they missed the extra point at the end. It may come down to that, but whatever it comes down to, we're going to fight to the very end, and it did.
And I mean, it looked like you guys were stopped on third down, and then it literally, a guy threw a shoe. I mean,
yeah.
I mean, what are you seeing? Like, what's that emotion like on the sideline when you're probably about to punt and then a guy throws a shoe?
Well, I was happy, to be honest with you. Maybe some people were disappointed, that it happened. I don't know, but I can't talk for them, but it was a penalty that, obviously I know Coach Mullen didn't want that guy to do that, and it was a break. We needed a break, and we got a break.
It's just kind of to follow up on that question. Have you ever won a game because an opponent threw a shoe?
No, I don't think I've ever been in a game where an opponent threw the shoe, to be honest with you. I think it was a great job by Stringfellow of loosening up that shoe before the play,
Did you see it when it happened?
No, I did not. I just saw 3 flags on the ground, and I was happy.
And with your true freshman quarterback today, Max Johnson, getting his first start, what did you see from him today? And it seemed like he had some crucial drives in this
game.
Yeah,
the ability to run the football at the beginning, we saw him scramble and some quarterback draws. I thought he made some good decisions with the football, crisp throws, still some stuff to work on. But, I believe in Max and TJ. I think they're 2 excellent young quarterbacks.
I got to give credit to Max Johnson in this game, man. He looked really good, had the touch on the ball that commanded the offense. He made a few mistakes in the matchup, but ultimately, to be honest with you, Max Johnson looked composed in the pocket. Of course, we know Max Johnson is the son of Brad Johnson, a former pro football quarterback, best known for his days with Minnesota and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. But Max played a very, very pretty game. 21-36 for 239. He averaged 6.6 per throw, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions in the matchup, a QBR of 63.3. But he had command of the offense. He had a lot of his passes had a feathery touch to him, especially the one in the back of the end zone where he put just enough touch on that ball to go right over the top of the defender, right where it needed to be. So it was real interesting to see Max Johnson. Plus, he has an athletic edge to him where he can scramble and get out of harm's way. He had 18 scrambles today for 52 yards as well in the matchup. Chris Curry, 17-64, who carried the day, and D. Price, as I call him, 8 carries for 55 yards, averaged 7 yards a rush. Curry just under 4 yards a rush. As a team, like I said, 50 carries for 179 yards for Coach O and that offense, that rushing offensive attack. So Max Johnson was a major part of the win in this matchup, throwing for 3 touchdowns and scrambling 18 times for 52 yards in the matchup, just under 3 yards per scramble in the game. Now, of course, his top target was Keyshawn Butte, who had 5 catches for 108 yards, 1 touchdown. He averaged 21.6 yards per catch, which was great. Even Jaray Jenkins got involved, 4 catches, 65 yards, and the score as well, averaged 16.3. He was able to find Coy Moore 4 times for 20 yards. Trey Palmer, 2 for 19. Cole Taylor had 3 for 11 as well. John Trey Kirkland, not too much, 1 catch for 6 yards. John Emery also had 1 catch for 6, and he found Trey Bradford 1 time for 4 yards and a touchdown. So he did get the ball and circulate the ball around. It did look good. Good to see that LSU, got this was a big win. This is a very big win for this very young freshman QB-led team. And they were able to knock off a number 6 Florida team who basically looking at Alabama as the potential setup for the SEC championship. Defensively, to speak about, Damone Clark was the top man. He had 9 tackles in the matchup. Jay Ward, 8 tackles. Jacoby Stevens had 8 tackles, a half a sack in the matchup as well. Jabril Cox, 6 tackles in the game. Maurice Hampton Jr. had 5. Dwight McLaughlin had 4 tackles in the matchup for LSU as they had sacked the quarterback 4 times, half a sack for Jacoby Stevens. You had 2 for Jacqueline Roy, half a sack for Andre Anthony, and then 1 for Ray Thornton. So the team did what they were supposed to do. And of course, big ups to Eli Ricks and Jay Ward as Eli Ricks returned he had a pick 6 in the matchup, 68 yards returned, played it perfectly, picked the ball off with great anticipation and returned it all the way. So that was a really good gutsy pick for the LSU defense to help out. As the offense did what they did, the defense also helped. And then, of course, Coy Moore, who had a punt return in this matchup for not too much on it for 2 yards, but did contribute in the passing receiving game. LSU's kicking, Cade York was masterful. Of course, he was given accolade for his kicking ability. It continued. 3 of 3 field goals for Cade York. He had 13 points total, but the big winner was that 57-yarder in the fog, right down the center of the goalpost to elevate LSU to a win. And on the other side, with the Gators, you're looking at what happened with Kyle Trask, 29 of 47, 474, had 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, a QBR of 64.9 in the matchup. Malik Davis was their top rusher, 7 carries for 81 yards in the matchup. Kadarius Toney, 3 carries for 56 yards. Was a monster in the matchup for them to stop. And he was also their top receiver, 9 catches for 182 yards. He averaged 20.2 yards per catch, 1 touchdown. Jacob Copeland had 5 for 123, averaged 24.6 and 1 touchdown. Trevon Grimes had 4 catches for 98 yards, who also averaged 24.5 yards per game. And the secondary gave up 474 yards of offense, but they did not give up in the game. Ventrell Miller had a huge game, 16 total tackles. He had a sack in this matchup. Mohamed Diabate had 11 tackles as well, but Ventrell Miller was all over the place for this team. But LSU, man, listen, this was a really tough matchup against the Eastern leading Florida team, who came in this one number 6 in the nation after LSU basically got it handed to them by the Alabama Crimson Tide. They salvaged themselves. They didn't give up in this game, and they did everything it took to come back and win. You know, in the matchup, it wasn't pretty. It was exciting, though, and it went back and forth, but LSU gets a staple win for a young team heading into the future of the matchup. So they get it 37-34, stunning the Florida Gators in the swamp. So despite the young guys, the LSU team was able to pull it together or put it together enough to kind of move it in the right direction. Now, to be honest with you, it wasn't exactly everything we anticipated it was going to be. You know, we still gave up a big chunk of yards on the other end of it in passing the ball and running the ball. But at the end of the game, the LSU Tigers did more than enough to come home with the win. So the Tigers improved to 4-5, and now they face their final regular season matchup of this season against the Ole Miss Rebels, who are 4-4 right now. And this will be an interesting game to see if LSU, who doesn't have any a bold future, a bowl game future, but the team would like to finish the season at 500, at least that much. So going into this, of course, Ole Miss, this game will be in Tiger Stadium on the 19th of this month at 2:30 p.m. Central Time. And you look at LSU coming into this averaging 30 points a contest, giving up 33.5 per game. Ole Miss is averaging almost 40 points per game and giving up almost 39 points per game. So this will be interesting to see what happens with LSU in Death Valley. 416 is the total yards LSU's offense scores together. 299 of it through their passing game, 118 of it on the ground through the rushing attack is what their offense is for the Ole Miss team, led by Lane Kiffin's 563 total yards a game, 356.5 through the air. They're really prolific, and they run at 206.5 yards per contest. It's going to be interesting to see how the LSU deals with that. Now, on the defensive side, the Ole Miss Rebels gives up a lot of points. They really do, and yardage. You look at the yardage, they give up a 528.5 yards per contest, 310 through the air, 218 on the ground. And LSU comes in this thing 485 yards. They give up 331 of it through the air and 154 of it on the ground. So it'll be interesting to see who goes where if LSU can and maintain good vibes that they got from the Florida matchup going against Ole Miss. This could be a very good matchup. Okay, so after dropping 2 to Texas A&M and Alabama, they respond really well in a shocker against number 6 Florida, 37-34. And Ole Miss has won 3 straight. They started off by beating Vandy 54-21, and then South Carolina 59-42, and they just come off a nice win over Mississippi State 31-24 to head into this thing. So Ole Miss trying to get above 500 as they're sitting 4-4. LSU's at 4-5, trying to finish the season out on a good note. Now, of course, the top people we have to watch out for is Matt Corral. Remember him, 186 of 255. He had 2,700 yards passing, almost 25 touchdowns from this guy, 9 interceptions. He's throwing the ball pretty well. Their top running back is Jerrion Ely, 135 carries for 701 yards. He has 9 touchdowns, is their top guy. Of course, their top receiver is Elijah Moore, 86 catches on the season for 1,193 yards and 8 touchdowns, having a phenomenal year for them. And of course, we'll see LSU, see if they can slow down that high-powered attack of Ole Miss in Death Valley 230. So hopefully LSU can get this done and get back to 500, at least 500. Of course, we know they're not eligible for a bowl this year. They self-imposed bowl ban and a lot going on with LSU, but winning definitely helps when you can knock off nationally ranked opponents. And of course, the onus will be for LSU to finish the season out at least at 500. You know, that's a good look. So, I mean, the best as it can do. But anyway, that'll do it for Tuff Tiger Talk. I'd like to thank all of the Tuff Tiger Talk family members for chiming in this edition of the show. We'll appreciate you. If you're not a member or subscriber of Tuff Tiger Talk, please hit the subscribe button. Please feel free to share the links on all LSU media where all the rest of our LSU family members dwell. Let them know about Tuff Tiger Talk and tell them they should subscribe. So thank you guys for joining us on this one. We'll see you on a later broadcast. Peace and go Tigers.
Subscribe to the Tuff Tiger Talk channel and stay up to date for all things